We just jump straight in and go for it. So yeah, that's all the boring housekeeping shit taken care of. Now let's actually do what we came here for.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if you have listened to other episodes, but typically, like Pete said, it's a conversation. And to kick things off, and so that our listeners get to know who you are, it'd be lovely if you could share with us, first of all, where you are in the world, who you are, where you are, and who you serve. So what is it that you are doing in the world at the moment for other people? Whoever would like to go first.
Do you want to go in?
Sure, I'll kick us off. Yeah, happy to kick us off. So my name is Angela. I'm actually Australian as well, and that was one of the things that Aveline and I were connecting about earlier on. Have been living though in Europe for about 15 years, first in the Netherlands, and now for the last 3.5 years in London. In terms of what I do in the world, I mean, that's such a profound and big question, right? I mean, it was something which, to be honest, before I started doing what I do right now, it was something which really made me question, and to be honest was also one of the triggers for why I decided to leave the corporate world after 16 years and jump into business for myself. So really, in a nutshell, I'm a marketing strategist, and I'm someone who I would say has always been very fascinated by the unseen potential of individuals. So whether that be the people that I meet or the team members that I've led, other people that I've worked with. And this is a little bit also how we now approach the work that we do with clients today. And what we do today is essentially to help them bring out that potential through their branding as an outsourced chief marketing officer, if you will, and a plug and play marketing team. So that's my little recap in a nutshell. What about you, Cristina?
Okay, so same. I'm also Australian born. And however, I did the reverse of Ange. I grew up in Europe. I grew up in Spain, then went to Australia, and then met Ange. So I was a teenager. We were teenagers when we met. And then I stayed in Australia. She moved to Europe. And then we reconnected. Well, not reconnected. We've been connected the whole time. But then I decided to follow suit and come back to Europe about 3 years ago now as well.
We've known each other for way too long.
Yeah, it's so awesome. This is the first episode, Pete, where we've had two people who are like colleagues, like who know each other. All our other episodes, people pretty much work separately or don't know each other at all.
Yeah. And that was deliberate. And this is the first time I've met Angela, but Cristina and I had a couple of conversations. And just when Cristina and I were talking, it was evident, all of the 6-star qualities were coming out. And I just thought that it would be, I hate the status quo. I'm not talking about the band. I'm putting my music taste aside, but in terms of just doing what's been done, just doing because it's what's always been done, if you see what I mean. And although up until now, there's been almost total serendipity about who's on each episode at the same time, I just thought it might, because not only do you work together, because you've known each other for so long as well, I just thought it'll certainly make for a different kind of conversation. And so I just thought we'd mix it up a little bit. So, but I forgot to tell Av that.
Sorry, Av, surprise.
Internal.
It's really funny, actually. So, Pete, I listened to a couple of your earlier episodes just to get a vibe of the kind of conversations you have on here. And last night, Cristina and I, we had a really quick chat, and she was like, we were like, okay, should we debrief and talk about like just aligned talking points? And I said, and what I said was, well, actually, I kind of think that the dynamic of the two of us coming together as like really separate individuals, because honestly, if you get to know us a little bit, you'll see that we're literally like two sides of an opposite and very different personalities, but there's obviously something that connects us. But it also means that what we've jointly built with this business that we've created really kind of integrates these different elements that make each of us unique in what we do and how we approach things. So we decided to not align anything. So we're hoping we're not going to contradict anything ridiculous on this show, but we thought we'd just bring that essence here in the spirit of the program as well.
That's wonderful. I really appreciate that. So what does connect you if you're so different?
It's a really interesting question. It's so funny because, like, if you think about it, we grew up in two very different worlds. I grew up in Europe, Angela grew up in Asia / Australia. And then after we were, I think, in our 20s, early 20s, and moved to Europe, I stayed in Australia. We've always been connected. We've always stayed connected. And our lives have changed really quite a lot since high school. And we've seen our friends go in different ways. We've seen our own friendships groups change over time. Our partners change over time. And we've really always stayed connected. And it's interesting because I feel that we've got very similar values and philosophies. And yes, we are 100% different. Like Ange and I are yin and yang in many ways. However, we always say we are married to each other and then we have our side hustles, which now Andrew is married, so it's more than a side hustle. And I in a serious relationship and with someone I love very much. But it's interesting because we still, I think, talk much more to each other than we do our own partners, partly because of the business as well now. But even before that, we've done everything that everyone says don't do with your best friend. Don't live with your best friend. Don't travel with your best friend. Don't set up a business with your best friend, because you will fight and you will go in different ways. And I think for us, it's done the complete opposite every single time. It's strengthened our friendship. It's strengthened our relationship. We're very open and honest with each other. Angela absolutely knows me more than anyone else does on this planet. And I know it's the same vice versa. And it's that openness, that trust, that relationship, that long-term vision of where we're going, the belief in one another, the respect in one another, that just keeps us going and keeps this relationship as strong as it is.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I would
Yeah. Sorry, go.
I mean, what I can add to that is I absolutely agree with everything that Christina said. And it's also not something that just happens, that we happen to have shared values, shared philosophies, let's go into business and boom, magic happens. I mean, it does take work. Every single relationship takes work. And we had our moments where we had to also learn to really trust each other and really lean on each other in this very vulnerable space where you're going into business together and you don't really know if you're both in it at the same level. So we did have these moments in the beginning, especially in my case, because I started this business on my own 2.5 years ago. Christina decided to join me about a year later. And at that time, there was really this kind of a fear, I would say, because this is something which, on my side, as the founder of this business, I had created this sort of a baby. And there's someone who I trust deeply, almost as a family member, who's coming in, and I trust her completely with so many things. But it's just like, but what if this fails? And there's all these fears that are playing behind this. So we had to be really open about this. And I mean, honestly, like there were emotional conversations where we had to get real and just learn to let go and to trust. So I would say there was a good foundation to start with, but for sure there were a lot of mechanics that needed to go into it and to make sure that we also kept that communication fluid and shared these things openly.
That's absolutely wonderful, and I'd like to dig into that if that's okay, because one of the absolute truisms in business is that you can't do it on your own. Is that Richard Branson is like, just you said the number one rule for business success is get a team around you. So there comes a point in time in any small business that's started by an individual is they need to start working with other people. Most people, Angela, most business owners are not in the position, fortunate or otherwise, depending which way you look at it, but from where I'm standing at the moment, it seems to be a fortunate position of that person, that next person being somebody they know so intimately, so well, such a deep trusting relationship. What can you, both of you, what can you say and what can you speak to entrepreneurs that are at that stage of needing, wanting to take that step, but don't have someone like you two have, something like you two have?
Yeah, let me share a few thoughts around that. I think in a lot of ways, as you said, Pete, we're quite lucky in this way that this relationship turned out this way. And at this point, I'm not really sure if there is really another friend. I mean, I've never tried, but if there is really another friend that I could imagine doing this with. But in the case of an entrepreneur who's someone who feels like or is realizing that they cannot do it on their own, that they want to do it with someone, because honestly, business can be a really lonely game. And for anyone that's listening to this podcast and for you guys having gone through this as well, I'm sure you've also experienced this loneliness where you feel like people in your life don't really understand your journey and they support you, but they don't really get it. And so to go about with finding someone who can do that, I mean, I'd say the number one thing that you need to make sure of is that you connect in terms of values and also why you're in business. So for Christina and I, it was never about money. It was never about let's go and get rich quick and try to squeeze as much money out of this business as possible. We want to make sure like, our priority is making sure we get the salary that we used to. And that was never like a conversation. Of course, we want this business to be successful, and that means that we want it to be at a certain like earning level, let's say. But that isn't the base intention. Like we decided to go into business because we wanted to do something more. We wanted to actually make some sort of a little impact in a little corner of the world, make some sort of a change. And the fact that neither of us have really not been so focused on the money as a core is something that has really helped us to get through tough times without feeling resentment or without this kind of ugly stuff that can sometimes make the relationship difficult. So that would be what I would say, like whoever you find. And we've actually other entrepreneurs who have gone into business with business partners they've met either at networking events or connected through other means, and they've been able to find this connection. So you absolutely can find this connection, even if it's with someone that you haven't known for 20 years, like Christine and I.
Yeah.
What about you, Chris? What are your thoughts?
It's it's on the other flip side, right? So Pete, I saw my best friend jump into this world, and I have immense respect for Angela in a professional capacity. She is someone I admire and someone who has achieved before even jumping into business. She's one of these overachievers, but in the best possible way. Like you watch her, she sets a target and there is no deviating her from that target. She's really laser focused, super intelligent. We've both achieved MBAs at different times, and achieved different things. And I've just always admired her business ethics. I remember calling her at 2 o'clock in the morning at times, or hearing from her at 2 o'clock in the morning, and she was still working at Accenture in the offices and ordering pizza for the teams and things along those lines. So she's one of these people that works extremely hard, is really focused, and always achieves what she sets herself out to achieve. So when she went into business, I went, what can I do as a best friend to make sure that she has everything she needs from a friendship perspective? And that's how I took it. Real advice, real support. I had done management consulting all over the world. And so I just wanted to give her my two thoughts about that she did what she did in business, but also be there as her best friend. So when the opportunity came up for me to take a break from work and jump in and help her, my intention was always just, what can I do to make sure that she's got all the establishment she needs and give her my support and my understanding of business, and then walk away. That was initially what the plan was. And as we got into business, this ability to be open with her, to be honest with her, to be the trusted best friend, but also visionary to see where she wanted to take this and do everything in my power to make sure she gets there, really change the dynamics. And I think it's still very much the case, but our business has evolved, and it's morphed into showing a lot of my personality into the business. But it's also allowed us to have that same dynamic with our clients, is that we take that, we just go, we have that, how do we take your vision and really make that a reality from what we know and what we can help with? And I love that about what we do. I love that we can partner with a client and have 100% their best interest in heart and watch them go through this journey. And I think that's what's really interesting, is that I've seen Andrew evolve from a amazing, inspiring, not entrepreneur, but corporate high flyer, the top of the world, working at one of the highest levels in one of the biggest, most well-known organizations, flying business class to New York, London, everywhere. All of those things that you get as a perk in a high flyer position, being asked to join the top companies worldwide and all of these things, to then start this world of entrepreneurship and the massive changes and the massive growth that you get from that, and the self-learning you get from this, and then watch her also evolve into a CEO position. And all of those, I see my best friend changing and evolving, and I'm there watching her do that. But at the same time, she's challenging me. When she said to me, join me, and I was already working and doing some stuff with her, and why don't you become an entrepreneur with me? She watched me struggle through that change. I rejected the title of entrepreneur. When someone said to me, "Oh, you're an entrepreneur," I was like, "No way, I'm not. No, that's for someone else. That's for Ange. That's for our other friend Marianne. That's for people I've seen do amazing things. But that's not me. That's not who I am." And she watched me struggle through accepting that, challenging myself as to why did I really have such an adverse reaction to that word, and then embrace it, and then also now take on the challenges that come with that title, I think. And so it's super interesting. And I think having that support network, that knowledge, that allowing someone to grow into that position and watching them and developing them and challenging that, and then being able to do that same thing for our clients, for me is just so rewarding. It's just exactly why Ange and I, we know we're going to be doing this until the day we die. And therefore, it's such a long-term vision for us. And it's like, yeah, we might go bankrupt a few times. We haven't, thank God. But, we're prepared to see all of the challenges that come with this life and this world.
There is so much 6-star in what both of you have shared there. I don't really know where to go. What do you can see you thought there?
Oh, well, I was taken on a journey, and from, what Angela said to what Cristina said, and then I was thinking about it from the lens of our listeners and other entrepreneurs listening to this and wondering, wow, I wonder what they're taking away from this and how it's landing for them. Because I know on the journeys that I've had, I've been a solopreneur on my own with a team. I then had a business partner for a few years, and then that didn't work out, or he decided to leave. And then, so I've seen different parts of the entrepreneur business world and running a business. So it's a very interesting journey. And like you've both said, it's very challenging. But having one thing that you both mentioned there was that you gave each other the space to be yourself and honor the potential of each of you. And I would love to just talk a bit about that, because I feel like that's probably a really necessary ingredient in this. And you both use the word respect. You respect each other, and there's no ego in this. It's really, I honor and see you for who you are. I respect you for who you are, and this is the potential for who you can be, and I want to help support you to be that. And it's reciprocal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. And I think a big part of that comes down to at the very beginning, Aveline, when you asked me about who I see myself as being in the world, and I spoke about my fascination with this unseen potential. I know that one of the big reasons that Cristina and I connect on such a macro level in our vision is because we very much match in this particular goal that we're trying to achieve. So we approach it from different angles. For her, the passion is in education, and for me, it's about economic empowerment through building successful businesses. But because of that, it's one of the things that we've also been able to really see in each other as well. So Cristina has played a massive role in just helping me to kind of overcome my own many moments of imposter syndrome throughout this business. And in this way, that's allowed me to, I guess, really be able to create that space to step up into a CEO role. But that is one of the things which I can just comment on, that it's about the fact that we know that we've been able to grow in our relationship over the years that we've known each other, because neither of us have been someone that likes to stand still. So we've always wanted to reach for more. We've always wanted to reach for higher. So in that way, that allowed us to connect at this level. But also secondly, in basically seeing that potential in someone else and wanting them to tap into that potential. And that's the potential that I see in Cristina in being able to bring into this business, which required me to let go of control of what that core vision of the business was, because it used to be just mine. And now it needed to be something combined. So we actually did an exercise, and this might be a useful one for people who are in business together and are feeling like, are we on the same path? We seem to be walking right now side by side, but almost fearing that you reach a certain point, a fork in the road, where you're like, oh, are we still going in the same direction? To actually take that step back and do this vision exercise. And we have a process that we actually take our clients through, because that's one of the first things we do when we start working with them, to basically put down on paper that big vision so we know where we're heading. And that was actually one of the things that we did for ourselves together as a joint exercise. And it allowed us to see the big picture of why we were doing what we do and help to connect that at an even higher level. And I think it's a really important exercise for, like all business partners to do. It's because otherwise it just becomes very lopsided. It's like one person's vision and another person is enabling, and that usually ends up being resentment or like disconnect and these kind of things, which, I'm sure that a lot of people that have had failed business partner relationships, I certainly know a few in my close circle as well, have experienced because of that.
Well, one more now. Where this conversation is going is hitting pretty close to home, because at the beginning of the year, I stepped aside from a company that I had spent 5 years working in and growing. The last 2.5 had been with a business partner. And it got to a point, Angela used the word fork. It did get to a point where it seemed that we were almost diametrically opposed in terms of how we saw the company and where we wanted to take the company. It was a really fucking difficult time. And I just wonder what the question is out of that. We didn't do that vision exercise. I mean, I attempt to, this isn't a therapy session, so I should shut up.
You know what it is, though? I have to say, I think one of the things that we see is that I see this as a long-term journey, right? And because I see this as a long-term journey, I don't mind if Angela takes 5 years to step into a particular role. I know she's got the potential. I know it's her. I see it and I respect her journey in this process because she's done the same with me. Where I struggled with finding my title, she allowed me to discover that for myself. And so I do the same with her. And I just go, it's not about the fact that she needs to take on this role today. Yeah, I might need her to at times, and I will challenge her and I will challenge her thinking, but it's a journey. And for me, it's about at the end of our lives, wherever that may be, if that be tomorrow, if that be 50 years from now, if that be 100 years from now, because we've managed to overcome a whole heap of health stuff that happens. It's about what have we done in that process and who have we done that with? And I know I want to do that with someone like Angela. And therefore, if it takes 5 years, then it takes 5 years. And I'm okay with that because I know that at the end of the day, she's going to allow me to do the same thing. And therefore, the process of the change in the business for me does not have to happen overnight. It does not have to happen when I'm ready. It has to happen when we are ready as a collective. And that's what I like seeing even with our clients, because sometimes when we speak to our clients, I say to them, I can't want this business for you more than you want it for yourself. So come along with me. What do we need to do to get you there? What is it that you need to work on and overcome? And how can I be that help to make that happen? But I always say to them, I can't want this more than you. You need to want it too. So what is it that's stopping that from happening? And let's break that down. And because there is no egos, like you mentioned, it's not about them achieving it or me achieving it for them or them achieving it solely. It's really a journey. I really see this as a journey. Life is absolutely an impact we can make for 5 minutes or for a lifetime. But whatever impact I can make, or Ange can make, any one of us can make, I want to make it. And there's no goal in the end of this other than do exactly that. And that's probably why I love the fact that we called it a Grow Your Brand with Impact, because it really highlights for me all of that, the growth, and whether that be personal, whether that be business, whether that be any type of journey, and doing that, making an impact all the way through. Even if it's a small picking up the rubbish when you see it on the side of the walkway, or even if that's much bigger than that.
Do you ever have, I imagine you do, but do you ever have clients that come to you that have been with another company providing similar kind of services to you? What do you hear from them as to the difference with working with you?
You want to hit that, Chris?
Yeah, sure. I think it's that partnership. It's that we are 100% there to see them succeed. It's not about, for us, it's not about the price tag we put on it. It's not about the time it takes. It's about that result of their success. And sometimes that changes. Sometimes we'll hit and we'll see a client really succeed, and then they'll be like, okay, we've done that now. We're going to do something else. And we're like, what are you doing? But it's okay. It's about, at that moment in time, what can we help them do? And I think they really see that it's coming from the heart. It's coming from an investment of our time, our place, our energy, our knowledge. our networks, but it's genuine. And I think that's where it's different, is that it's very genuine, it's very long-term thinking. And I think that's probably where you're seeing, what you're hearing a lot and we're repeating a lot, is this long-term vision. It's not about fixing something for today. It's about thinking something for the long term and making it a change long term, a growth long term. It's probably why Ange says to you, I focus on learning. For me, we learn until the day we die. And so therefore, anything I can add, learning, teaching, for me, is something that I can't take away. I can give you $1 million tomorrow, but that can disappear with anything. Change of market, change of scenery. I can buy you a house that can be taken away by flood waters. That happens to us a lot in Australia. But what I can't do is no one can take away something I've taught you. No one can take away something I've helped you grow. That can never be taken away. Maybe Alzheimer's, but that's down the track. That's not something to worry about. But that for me is so much more valuable than a bonus, than an actual physical gift, than a gift that is materialized.
Yeah. I think it's this combination of both, ensuring that you are able to solve the short-term pains and deliver those short-term results, but at the same time building the foundations for the longer term sustainability of those results. So Pete, you asked the question of working with clients that have worked with others before and what has been the difference in their experience with ours. And I can think of already a few specific individuals in our head. When we had the conversation with them, they were really skeptical about marketing. They were really skeptical about getting help because they're like, yeah, I've worked with people before and invested thousands and thousands of pounds and basically didn't get results. And this is one of the things which honestly was the biggest trigger for me initially. And then when Cristina came, we sort of created this plug and play marketing team concept, which is that you have these entrepreneurs that have so much access to educational materials out there to learn how to be a marketer. But then it's the question of, okay, but do you actually want to be a marketer? Or do you want to actually be good at your business? So this is one of the things that we bring in. And when we started talking to this particular individual I'm thinking of, who was very skeptical, he's like, I don't need another coach. I don't need to learn more about how to do marketing. I tried to do it. I'm just not a marketer. I don't want to do it. And we said, okay, well, we're not going to coach you. We're not going to teach you how to do marketing. We're going to actually help you. We're going to help you to lay down the long-term strategy and basically give you the enablement through our team to actually help them to implement that strategy and then road test it until it's working. So it's, as Cristina said, it's really about keeping in mind that longer term vision, but also, yeah, enabling that short-term result. And one of the things which I'll probably add to that in terms of where I personally see as the things that we bring as difference to this mix, and it's something that we also hear back from clients as well, is that we get very vested, probably a little bit overly vested into their business results. Like we treat their business as if it is our business. We see ourselves very much as an extension of their teams. That's why I mentioned earlier this role of being an outsourced chief marketing officer role and a team. And in some cases, we actually had to have conversations with our clients like, hey, I can't care more about your results than you. You need to also play your part as well. And we hold them accountable to that as well. And I think it's really that peace of mind that our clients get in knowing that there's always somebody looking constantly at the marketing campaign that has been set up. And we're constantly looking at, oh, but let's study this and let's see what we can tweak. Let's see what we can optimize. And okay, and always trying to strive for that next level of improvement. I mean, like sometimes I almost think the way we study the performance of what's actually happening with the strategies that we implement, because we implement strategies and we road test, we monitor, we see if it's actually doing the job. It gets a little bit obsessive, and it may even be a little bit stalkerish, the way that we sort of study how it's actually working out there. And it's one of the things that I know that our clients really appreciate, because it just gives them the peace of mind that they don't have to stress that somebody is looking at it.
So much gold.
Yeah, we started with
much
emotional
gold.
intelligence and leadership capacity of both of you. And then we moved into delivery and what makes you different. And that was the genuine care factor and what you invest energetically in your clients and their success. Did I sum it up?
Absolutely.
Did I miss anything?
No,
Maybe.
that's it.
Great summary.
And it's something that we encourage our listeners to do, is to hear other entrepreneur stories, and they're interesting in itself, but then to ask themselves the question, how might that work for me? What can I learn from this and apply in my own business? And that's why I said there's gold there, because the mindset of caring for someone else's business as much as I care for my own, I can take that away and start implementing it today. Do you know what I mean? And there's this word care again. There are some key words there's key themes. There's also key words that have come up time and time again in the 6 Star Business Podcast, and care is one of them. It's great to hear it expressed in that context of caring for your client's business in the way that you care for your own. Wonderful.
And I think one of the things that we do, which a lot of clients love, is that we don't hold back. Everything we know, everything we can help and support with is all there. You know how sometimes you go into business and they give you 99% of what you need to know, but there's always that 1% that they keep to themselves to stay successful. We're not like that at all. Like anything we learn, anything we know, we will absolutely give that 100%. And I think for us, that is, sometimes you do things, and we've all done it, right? We've all listened to podcasts, we've all listened to things, and you're like, yep, you've told me how, and you've told me what, and you've told me why, but you haven't given me 100% of how do I actually do it. And Ange and I, when we partner with a client, we give them 100%. We make them go beyond what they already know. So many times they say to us, I know our market, and I know my clients, and I know what they need. And I go, do you really? Let me question that. What do they do when they wake up? What do they do when they go to bed? What is it that they don't tell their partner when they're lying in bed that is stressing them out in their head? I want you to know that much about your client, and let's uncover that together. And they're like, but why do I need to know that? I'm like, because that's how you reach them. That's marketing. It's like the moment you look at De Beers, and De Beers used to think that they were selling diamonds to women. They were never selling diamonds to women. They were selling diamonds to men, because men had the ego at the time, and I'm not saying I'm generalizing here, but they wanted to know that I've got this lady and I've said to her, be my wife, and look at the piece of ring that I put on her, the diamond. That's mine, right? And so they knew that they had to market to men and to their paychecks and to their ego. And that's probably what I think a lot of the times our clients, they know their stuff. We are very selective of who we bring on. We bring on people that want to make an impact, that are experts in what they do, but they're so experts in what they do that they forget how much they actually know.
And you touch on something really crucial there, Christina, which is the real reason why people buy, the real underlying, that thing that's like in this ancient part of our brains that we don't think is actually controlling our actions, but it is controlling about 95% of our decisions and actions and thoughts. And yeah, it's really being able to understand those psychological triggers. And that is, I would say, one of the things that also make a difference in what we do, because it's not that we sit down, we say, okay, tell me your target market. Okay, you're targeting working moms. Great. All right, working moms. And then you have like these superficial kind of like attributes when it comes to working moms. And you come up with a superficial campaign with superficial attributes. You come up with superficial messaging and superficial marketing, which doesn't work. So it's about like tapping into that underlying psychology. And Christina, I love the example you gave there of the diamonds, that you're not actually selling to the women, because that would have been the superficial message, right? They know that in order to actually get those diamonds sold, they have to appeal to that masculine nature of wanting to appease their lady and all of these things. So yeah, I mean, whether that is like about self-preservation, like some of these really like kind of deep psychological triggers, is it about status? And it's about, yeah, like, and there's nothing to be ashamed of there. It's just really making sure that you understand what is that underlying need beneath the surface level need of what makes people need what you have to offer.
Sounds like ethical marketing.
Try to be. I mean, we try to select products.
The superficial is an attempt to sell stuff, is to make money, is to whatever. When you're talking about tapping into the psychological need, the need behind the need, that's actually providing value and service and helping people with what they with the help that they need, rather than just
100%.
Yeah.
It's solving problems. I mean, these problems, I genuinely believe that there are very few novel problems in this world. Like a lot of the problems that we're still solving with new and innovative solutions, they're still addressing very basic fundamental needs and fundamental problems. They're just slightly different because the context has changed. So you have to drill down like 6, 7, 10, 12 feet below to understand what are those fundamental needs, those fundamental problems that you're looking to solve. As a business owner, you have to know what is the problem that you're solving with your business.
Yeah, so it's a redirect of focus from profit and focusing on product to how can I serve? How can I solve this problem? And caring about
But you can make money doing that, right? Because if you're able to
Absolutely.
really
Absolutely.
clearly say that, you absolutely can make money from it. And I think that's often why people go to us, we don't go into business to make money. And I said, yes, neither do we. However, by doing it well and doing it right, you can build a really beautiful economy that works.
Mm. Yeah. Money in business is a funny thing because I used to think before I went into business that money was a dirty word. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't chase money, all this stuff. I mean, that's like another world, another time of money mindset that I had to get over. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, when you start looking at money as simply a resource, money is a resource that you can then reinvest to do greater things. And an example that I really like to use with clients is Bill Gates didn't start as a philanthropist. He didn't. He didn't start with wanting to be go and do charity projects, build toilets, all of that stuff. He started with actually building a really successful business and putting, desktop computers on every single table in across the world. So it's just about having that focus, like wanting your business to be successful and wanting to make money from your business and make a lot of money from your business is not about being greedy or whatever. You're just building more resources that you can then reinvest into making more change in the world. So it's a shift.
and that goes back to what you said at the top when you talked about having that vision alignment of values and the vision to figure out what's the long-term game here. Who do we want to impact? Where are we going to reinvest our profits? Yeah,
That's it.
And do you see long term? Do you see long term
Hopefully.
beyond you two?
I definitely, I mean, Ange and I both absolutely. We want to have an economy of female leaderships that go well and truly beyond our lifetimes and that of our children and that of our grandchildren. Like, absolutely. I mean, hence why I am so much into education is because that makes a long-term effect. I don't want to give someone fish. I want to teach them to fish. And you've heard this before. This is not a new concept, but that allows generations of fishermen to come along after you. And that's absolutely we want to be. Like, we have massive plans. Both Ange and I have massive plans. We know we need to be in a successful business to be able to achieve these massive plans. But absolutely, for us, it's that long-term effect is well and truly beyond our expiry dates. Well and truly.
wow.
Couldn't agree more.
I'm conscious of the time, and can you believe we're already almost at the top of the hour? And I feel like we could just keep going, and I'm just so loving this. Pete, did you want to ask Chris and Angela any sort of final wrap-up, pivotal questions?
No pressure then. Surely, if it was a pivotal question, I should have asked it at the top of the show, not right at the end before we wrap.
Keep it light, then.
So many times throughout this conversation, I've wanted to like say, everybody, shut up. I just want to process what's been said, but you can't because it's rude. When you're the host of a podcast, you can't tell people to shut up. But I think more an observation than a question is that I'm really looking forward to editing this podcast so that I can. Because I have to go through it bit by bit and just sort of take my time with it because there's so much has been, not crammed. Crammed's a negative word possibly. So much been squeezed. So much has been. What's the word? What's the positive word about? Was so much
Condensed, delivered.
Yeah, it's a rich. episode. And I thank you so much for being here, Cristina, Angela, sharing who you are, your genius, your relationship, your vulnerability.
Thanks for allowing us to share.
Much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. We've really enjoyed the conversation.
That was another stimulating, thought-provoking episode of the 6-Star Business Podcast.
Thank you so much for getting this far. Please go ahead, like, subscribe, and give us a comment, review.
A rating, if there was a 6-star, we'd love you to give us a 6-star rating, but so just go as high as you can.
And if you want to continue the conversation with us and all the cool people who've joined us from the podcast, head on over to apply.6starbusiness.community.
See you there.